Tonight, if Europe wants to fight, we are ready. Putin's defiant message as he meets Donald Trump's peace envoy. Steve Witkoff is visiting Moscow for the 6th time this year, but will this round of talks be any different? Unlikely, especially when the Kremlin is claiming gains on the battlefield, though Ukraine says they are still in control of this key frontline city. So what will Donald Trump accept to claim peace in his 9th war? Coming up, our correspondents will be live in Moscow and eastern Ukraine. And after rumours about his health, Imran Khan's sister is finally allowed to visit him in prison. Find out what Pakistan's former Prime Minister said. Plus,
they are the underlings. More flaws. They are coming off second best to the smuggling gangs.
On the hunt for Spain's cocaine smugglers as authorities say narcos have more money and faster boats. And what happened when peace activists in Israel staged silent vigils to mourn Gaza's dead children? That's all coming up on The World with me, Yalda Hakim. Good evening. Negotiations are all about timing, especially when Donald Trump is involved. The person he last spoke to. The latest development on the battlefield. The US president is easily swayed. So the Russian declaration today that it had captured a key frontline Ukrainian city was carefully executed. This is Pokrovsk in the Donetsk region. It's small, 60,000 people, but it's widely viewed as a gateway to the rest of Ukraine. Moscow announced its capture, a capture disputed by Kyiv as Donald Trump's peace envoy and his son-in-law arrived for talks with Vladimir Putin. The strategy to convince America that the Russian advance is inevitable. Ukraine's president is acutely aware of this and has warned no deal should be announced behind his country's back. But in the end, it could all come down to this man's ego.
I've settled 8 wars. This would be the 9th, and our people are over in Russia right now to see if we can get it settled. Not an easy situation, let me tell you. What a mess.
So if Putin refuses to budge, will Donald Trump agree to whatever allows him to claim peace in his 9th war? We'll discuss that tonight. Ivor Bennett has our first report from Moscow.
For the Kremlin's American guests, it was the full VIP treatment. A motorcade through town, lunch at a Michelin-starred restaurant, and even a stroll around Red Square. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner on more of a tourist trail than the path to peace.
So pleased to see you.
Eventually, it was down to business. But the one thing the US team actually came for wasn't on offer. Russia's agreement to the latest peace plan. Apparently, it's Europe's fault.
Они же на стороне войны. И даже тогда, когда они пытаются.
They are on the side of the war. Even when they try to supposedly introduce some changes to Trump's proposal, we see clearly what they are doing. All these changes are aimed at only one thing, to completely block the entire peace process by putting forward demands that are absolutely unacceptable for Russia.
The Americans' initial proposal heavily favoured Moscow. But after talks with Ukraine, there's a new version on the table. For how long, though? On a visit to Ireland, Volodymyr Zelensky voiced fears that Kyiv could once again be cut out.
It's important that this should be all open and fair and just. There would be no game behind Ukraine's back. Nothing would be decided without Ukraine, about our future.
This is the 6th time Steve Witkoff has come to Russia as part of Donald Trump's push for a peace deal. But instead of flying back with concessions from the Kremlin, he's always returned home with conditions. And this time doesn't appear to be any different.
And here's why. On the battlefield, Moscow says it's on the ascendancy, claiming to have captured the key town of Pokrovsk. Vladimir Putin is trying to assert Russia's dominance and reinforce his demands. So what do Muscovites think of their president's approach?
He's really great, brilliant, because we're all for Putin. God grant him health for many years. We'd be lost without him.
I think it's necessary to do some compromise, because we must to have compromise to make a peace.
Compromise on all sides?
From all sides.
There's no evidence of that from Moscow. Outside the American embassy, the symbols of Russia's war are proudly on display, a case of diplomatic trolling, and it seems they'll stay here for some time yet.
And Ivor joins us now live from Moscow. So does our security and defence editor, Deborah Haynes, who joins us from Ukraine. But let's go to Moscow first and speak to Ivor. Ivor, this makes it Steve Witkoff's, the US Special Envoy's, sixth trip to meet with Vladimir Putin. Could it be sixth time lucky? I mean, clearly the Americans want to get this over the line very quickly. The question is, can they convince Vladimir Putin to agree to this deal?
Sixth time lucky. I mean, it doesn't have a ring to it, does it? And at first glance, at the moment, it doesn't seem like he will be lucky. I mean, the question I think many people will be asking right now is, does the US actually have any leverage when it comes to dealing with Vladimir Putin? In theory, they do. They've got sanctions, which they imposed on Russia's oil companies, two biggest oil companies back in October, remember. They've also got incentives as well that they're willing to kind of dangle there in front of Moscow, things like closer relations with the US, economic cooperation. But it doesn't seem to be working, does it? Because at every turn, Vladimir Putin just goes back to the same kind of mantra that Russia must achieve its objectives, whether by force or at the negotiating table. And I think that's because Moscow believes that Washington wants the same thing as them, this closer US-Russia relationship. And it's easy to see why, because time and again in this process, since Donald Trump has come into office, the position that the US has defaulted to is one that is favourable to Moscow. I mean, just take the sanctions, for example. Only a few weeks after imposing them, this 28-point peace plan emerged, one that was heavily favouring Moscow after these secret talks that the US team had with the Russian side, involving Steve Witkoff, of course. From the Russians, it was Kirill Dmitriev, the Kremlin's investment envoy. And I think it also, just the way that they approach these talks really sums up this more favourable approach to Moscow. I mean, the way they deal with Kyiv, the Americans demand the Ukrainians come to them. First it was in Geneva, then it was in Florida over the weekend. But when it comes to dealing with Vladimir Putin, they are happy to make that difficult, long overnight flight to Moscow. Then they're happy to wait around for him until he's willing to meet them. I mean, that meeting is still going on. It's into its fourth hour. It's past midnight here. They must be exhausted, but they're bending over backwards to accommodate him. And all of this really just gives the feeling that it is Vladimir Putin still calling the shots.
Yeah, very much so. Let's bring in our Deborah Haynes, who joins us from Ukraine. Debs, you've been in eastern Ukraine. You've been speaking to the troops on the ground. Obviously, everyone is aware of what's happening in Moscow, the fact that the special envoy is there. We often speak about the spring and summer offensives in Ukraine over the past few years. The winters are harsh, though. What's the morale like on the ground?
Yeah, well, the morale is, people are tired, but they're also, the soldiers that we met are also defiant. There's talk of, Ivor was saying how Putin's calling the shots, but Ukraine has a voice too. It's really important to remember that. And the soldiers have been fighting and dying to defend the Donbass since 2014, not just since 2022. And when I asked them what they thought about the idea of a peace deal being imposed on Ukraine that saw Ukraine being forced, as this plan or the initial draft suggested, to give up the Donbass, even parts that it's still holding on to, they just turned around, most of them, saying that that would be inconceivable. They would not want to surrender land. Why should Ukraine surrender land? Some, of course, also then question, but how can we possibly keep on fighting? Because obviously it is taking a huge toll. But when you have cities like Pokrovsk, which has not fully fallen yet, the Russians are saying that they've captured it, and yes, of course, there is a flag flying in the city centre. But that has been a target for Russia for a year and a half now. And the same with another large town called Konstantinivka, that too surrounded but still not quite surrendering. However, of course, there is this grinding reality of Russia moving forward. It has more mass, it has more manpower, it has more weapons. For Ukraine, they feel they have to keep on fighting because they worry that if they were to roll over, then what's happened in cities that have been captured by Russia already would then just take hold on the rest of this country.
Debs, thanks so much for that update. And, of course, to Ivor as well. Now, while Russia's military is largely focused on Ukraine, Moscow has deployments on multiple fronts. And today, reports in the Wall Street Journal claim Sudan has offered the Kremlin a military base on the Red Sea in exchange for weapons. A strategic boost for Moscow and a vital rearmament for the Sudanese military in its fight against the RSF. The paramilitary group today claimed control of another city, as our Africa correspondent Yalda Hakim can explain.
Sudan's war has not seen a single ceasefire humanitarian pause in over 2.5 years of extreme armed violence. And here, a child soldier is seen celebrating victory on behalf of the paramilitary rapid support forces who have seized another key city, just 1 week after their commander declared a 3-month pause in fighting. US-led peace talks continue to fail, and millions of civilians are paying the highest price. This is the latest. There have been days of intensified fighting as the army and RSF battled it out for control of Baba Nusa in West Kordofan after a 2-year siege that saw it emptied of residents. Baba Nusa is near crucial oil fields and is a key railway city that links the northwest, east and south of Sudan, leaving the RSF primed to capture Al Ubaid, a gateway into the center of the country and home to 500,000 people. Fighting continues in other parts of the southwest region, where the army has claimed to make some gains in areas controlled by the Sudan People's Liberation North SPLM-N rebel movement in South Kordofan. In recent days, the Sudanese armed forces carried out a deadly double-tap drone strike there that killed at least 48 people, including children. The capital of South Kordofan, Kadugli, remains under siege, held by the army as SPLM-N rebels and the RSF fight to capture it. People are fleeing the city in droves, and it takes 3 to 5 days for them to reach safety. This woman left Kadugli with her child. She said she fled because there's no food in the city since the roads were blocked off, no supplies and no cash. Women and children move without their men, and we're told by humanitarian coordinators that their brothers, sons and husbands are often killed by the army and affiliated militias as they try to escape Kadugli, just as the RSF captured and killed hundreds of men trying to flee Al-Fashir, the capital of North Darfur. Sudan's war is an unending cycle of horror and entrapment. As the world watches on, millions are falling victim to every escalation.
Yusra Al-Bagir there. Let's focus on Pakistan now and the fate of former Prime Minister Imran Khan. For several days, there have been rumours about his health. Today, after a protest outside the prison where he was held, his sister was allowed to visit him for the first time in several weeks. Despite court orders, he's been barred from seeing his lawyer and held in solitary confinement. His sister Alima told me he's being mentally tortured. Just have a listen.
So when my sister visited him, health-wise, he's fine. She said that health-wise, he's absolutely fine because he exercises every day and he reads books which he hasn't been allowed to receive for the past 7 weeks. But she said he was very angry. He said, I'm being kept in solitary confinement. And this is considered torture, whether it's international law or Pakistani law, that you do not put people in solitary confinement for more than 4 days. And he has been in basically solitary confinement for the past 7 weeks.
And what is the justification that the authorities are giving for preventing him from seeing anyone? Because, of course, because of the extent of time in which your family members were not able to see him, there was a lot of speculation about whether he was alive or dead.
When my sister came out, she gave his statement to the press. And one of it was that he holds Asim Munir, who's declared himself Field Marshal right now. At the moment, we don't even know whether he is the Field Marshal. I mean, I think he's the Field Marshal, but his notification hasn't come in. But he said that I hold him solely responsible. He's a petty man, and he is the one responsible for what's happening. So there's what he calls the Asim law. That it's a dictatorship. He said I hold him responsible for what's being done to me because it's against all regulations that whether it's the jail manual, whether it's the law in Pakistan. So there is no law at the moment. We know that. It's a dictatorship. It's all such a sham that there's a lot of anger in Pakistan. So today, I think the only reason my sister was allowed to see him was because there were a lot of people outside the jail.
Do you think that Imran Khan will ever be released? I mean, he has a number of life sentences, and you know, the cases against him are a multitude of them. Do you think you'll ever see him freed?
Actually, before he was arrested on the 5th of August 2023, on the 4th, there were people who went to him and said, we give you, you know, whoever these people in power, which basically is the establishment, is willing to give you access, you know, like exit out of Pakistan. And he said, why would I leave my country? I'll stay here and I'll face all my cases. And he did. He has faced 5 cases. We must have attended at least 450 or maybe more days of trial in the jail court. The thing is, he's only in jail right now for 1 case. And that has been proven, it's like fell apart midway. I think they're operating out of fear. But to isolate him, he represents 90% of this country. How can you put a person who represents 90% of the country in jail? Basically, they're not after Imran Khan. They basically want to suppress the people of Pakistan. Like, you don't want their voice to be heard. And they are standing behind Imran Khan. They thought if they isolated him, people will forget him.
That was Alima Khan, the sister of Imran Khan. You're watching The World with me, Yalda Hakim. Still to come, I'll put those claims to a representative of the Pakistan government. And we report from Sri Lanka as emergency crews race to reach survivors from catastrophic floods that have swept across much of South and Southeast Asia.
I'm Stephen Murphy, and I'm Sky's Ireland correspondent based here in Dublin.
The waters of Ireland and Britain should be home to great white sharks.
If there are great white sharks in this area, there's no reason they wouldn't come here to feed. It's basically a buffet on a beach. This could be not only a record-breaking storm, but potentially the most dangerous storm ever to hit Ireland.
What might happen if Russia attacked the UK?
This is clearly an enormous show of force.
It is definitely out of the ordinary.
We ran a war game with former ministers back in the hot seat.
Ben Wallace.
Amber Rudd.
Jack Straw.
It's the kind of war game that's genuinely tested inside government.
The Russians are signalling that there may be an attack.
Russia knows our weaknesses, but do you? I'm Deborah Haynes. From Sky News and Tortoise, this is The War Game. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
We are under Israeli military restrictions in terms of some of the things that we can film, but it's important to be in there. What a slow drive for the president as he approaches his golf club. 4 more years! Free wherever you get your news. I'm Mark Stone and I'm Sky's correspondent based here in Washington, D.C.
Welcome back. We've been talking about former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan. He's said to be in physically good health, but he and his supporters point the finger of blame at the country's all-powerful army chief, Asim Munir. For years, the Pakistani military has maintained power behind the scenes. Now, through sweeping constitutional reforms, Asim Munir has moved to formally consolidate that power, placing the military in effective control of all 3 pillars of the state: the judiciary, the executive and the armed forces. A new law has also been passed, granting immunity from criminal prosecution to the president and senior military figures. Well, I'm joined now by Ahmad Hassan Al-Arabi, an advisor to the Ministry of Information of Pakistan. Thank you, Mr. Al-Arabi, for joining us here on the programme. Can I ask why Imran Khan has been refused his basic rights, which has included visitation from his family and access to his doctors?
Yes, Yalda, thank you so much for having me. Imran Khan, there's a process in Pakistan and it's in the world, it's called legal accountability. Imran Khan has been convicted not on political speeches, he has been convicted on criminal charges after investigations, prosecutions and court verdicts.
I'm not asking about his conviction, Mr. Al-Arabi. I'm asking about why the court orders have been defied. Even Pakistan's Human Rights Commission, an independent body, has said that regular access to relatives and legal counsel needs to be offered to Imran Khan. In fact, there was speculation that he was dead because he wasn't given any access by his family to him. So there was no proof of life at some point.
Now, Yalda, please allow me to finish. Imran Khan has been given access, the doctors have been given access to Imran Khan. There's the propaganda that PTI has been doing for the past 2.5 years. It's in front of the entire world. Now, for the past 1.5 months, the access was denied for the political gatherings. There's a very major reason behind it. PTI protests in the last 3 years, they were not just political gatherings. It was a coordinated violent assault on the state.
I'm not talking about the protests. I'm sorry, but you're avoiding my question. My question to you is, why has he not been given access? Why haven't family members been able to access him? Why hasn't he been given legal counsel? Why did no one know whether he was alive or dead for at least 4 to 6 weeks?
You will have to let me finish, please. I'm answering your question. I'm trying to answer your question, but please allow me to finish. Imran Khan has always been an ardent supporter of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, TTP, a banned terrorist outfit. He has openly advocated for Al-Qaeda, called Osama bin Laden a hero.
So, Mr. Al-Arabi, the question is the question is not about the conviction. I'm asking you why he hasn't been given access to his family members. You're talking about him supporting Al-Qaeda. I'm simply asking you not about the cases against him, but why he hasn't been given these basic rights. And if I can just quote the UN. The UN has said they are extremely concerned about the fact that he has been kept in solitary confinement.
Because Imran Khan has been given access. There have been 500 meetings of Imran Khan with his party leaders. There will 189 meetings of Imran Khan with his family members. The thing is that Pakistan is facing a current surge in terrorism. There's a terrorist attack inside Islamabad, and Imran Khan's political party, Imran Khan, is an ardent supporter of that terrorist outfit, Tariq-e-Taliban Pakistan.
Well, this is you saying it, but
whenever there is a meeting, whenever there is a meeting,
Sir, Volker Turk, the UN human rights chief.
You'll have to let me finish. Now, whenever there is a terrorist, whenever there is a meeting of Imran Khan with his party leaders, there's a narrative scene which supports those terrorist outfits which are carrying out terrorist attacks.
Sir, this is you saying it, but do you, as the government, is your position that you are not responsible for Imran Khan's welfare and well-being inside the jail? Is that what you're saying?
Imran Khan, his sister even said that Imran Khan is physically fine. Imran Khan is perfectly fine. But see, you'll have to understand that whenever there is a meeting of Imran Khan's party leaders with Imran Khan,
that's a separate issue, sir. But when the UN human rights chief, when the United Nations expresses concern about
and answerable to 200 and is answerable about the lives and security of 250 million Pakistanis. So it cannot go on like this.
Are you saying
this primarily is the reason why the access is restricted? Because whenever
Mr. Al-Arabi, are you saying
leadership goes inside Imran Khan's jail, they come up with a narrative in support of terrorist organizations and his family.
Mr. Al-Arabi, can I just ask you? Because you're avoiding my questions. Can I just ask?
I'm not avoiding your question. I'm answering your question.
Is the civilian government, the military and the ISI so afraid of Imran Khan that you can't allow access to family members to him? Are you so afraid of Imran Khan that you won't give access to his family members?
I think you're aware of this fact that his sister met him a few hours back.
Today, after 6 weeks of them being unaware whether he was alive or dead.
You're aware of the fact that the sister met him. Nobody is afraid of Imran
For the first time, despite every Tuesday being the day in which family members should be seeing him, based on a court order.
The jails are there as a punishment. They are there for the criminals to stop the evil from the criminals emanating into the society. If it has to become a political hub, there is no point of jail. Imran Khan's sisters have been given access. I'm telling you,
Imran Khan's sisters saw him for the first time today
times.
In 4 to 6 weeks.
189 times. 189
the court order requires for his family members to see him once or twice a week, and you've denied him that because you say that he's got links to terrorists.
But if the family members of Imran Khan come out of the jail and give political statements, threaten the state, how are you going to react?
There is a court order, and the court order requires family members, his sisters, to visit him once a week. You've denied him. You've denied the family this access.
There is a legal proceeding which says that Imran Khan is a criminal who has been involved in frauds. He has been involved in embezzlement. He has been involved in.
Does that mean that you deny him his basic human rights? Does that mean that you deny him the basic rights as a political prisoner? Does that mean that you deny him basic rights?
You'll have to allow me to make my point.
Please go ahead, because you can't answer a basic question about why the family members were denied access.
Because whenever Imran Khan's party leaders go inside, meet him, they come out.
I'm asking about his family members. I'm asking about his
family members are all his family. There is no distinction between politicians and Imran Khan's family member. Unfortunately, all his sisters are passing.
Why is the UN concerned about Imran Khan's welfare? Why is the independent Pakistani Human Rights Commission concerned about Imran Khan's welfare?
The United Nations also says that Tariq-e-Taliban Pakistan is a terrorist outfit and it must be banned, while you see Imran Khan supporting that banned terrorist outfit. Now, let me finish.
There's a lot of whataboutism, sir. You're not answering the basic questions about why Imran Khan has been denied basic rights as a prisoner.
He is not denied basic rights as a prisoner.
He wasn't given access to his family members. He wasn't given access to his doctors. He wasn't given access to legal
Yalda,
counsel.
listen to what I'm saying. 189 times his family members have met him. 189 times.
And if the court requires them to meet him once a week, you have to allow that. It's not a question of how many times. There is a court order.
548 times his legal team has met him. And these are not just one or two person. An entire team meets Imran 550 times. You tell me, anywhere in the world.
There was no proof of life
kind of humanitarian aid. You know what? There is a criticism inside Pakistan that the law has not been met by allowing so much visitation of Imran Khan in the jail. And this is the primary reason for chaos in Pakistan, and it has to stop.
Now, well, one of the reasons for the chaos that we're seeing is the consolidation of power by the military in Pakistan. We're seeing that the army chief is consolidating power, reforming the constitution. So there's big questions about the state of affairs of Pakistan today. We spoke to Imran Khan's sister, who said that this country is slipping into dictatorship.
No, this country is not slipping into dictatorship. And, you know, there is a history of Pakistan, and the military establishment is seriously does not say that it is ideal. But to pretend that the military operates in a vacuum is also dishonest. It steps in most when the political parties undermine each other, paralyze parliament, and invite umpires in their speeches. And today there is a constitutional democratic side. No, listen. There is a constitutional democratic elected civilian cabinet.
If we look at Pakistan's history since partition, every single prime minister has been sent to prison.
But the army does not govern day to day. Civilian politicians themselves repeatedly seek military arbitration on everything from elections to accountability. And the number one politicians who have always seek military arbitration is Imran Khan himself. Now, when he is in jail, when he is paying the price for the crimes that he has committed, for his corruption, now all of a sudden the military has become the evil.
Well, it seems, sir, that the government in Pakistan, the government in Pakistan has finally allowed his family to visit him because of the pressure that is coming from the international media and international outfits asking questions from your government and the military for the treatment of Imran Khan. And unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there, but we will continue to cover this story.
Pakistan needs internal stability. Pakistan does not need foreign approval. It needs internal stability. So whatever happens in Pakistan is decided in Pakistan.
Sir, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
This is The World with me, Yalda Hakim. Next up, we join the elite Spanish police unit hunting the smugglers flooding Europe with cocaine.
There's always more to the news than a headline. We want to discover, to delve a little deeper, to find out what's really going on. Explanation, analysis, the people at the heart of every story. I'm Neil Patterson, and this is the Sky News Daily Podcast. So, by the end, we'll hopefully all understand what's going on in the world just that little better. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
A rare cluster of tropical cyclones formed across Southeast Asia, bringing severe disruption to Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand, the Philippines and Sri Lanka. This satellite snapshot from last week shows how 3 storms developed simultaneously. In red here, we can see where rainfall was the highest. Typhoon Koto to the west triggered flash floods in the Philippines. Cyclone Senya gained a lot of attention for being unusually close to the equator. Climate change and warming sea temperatures may have contributed to this rare event. Cyclone Ditwa on the left caused extensive destruction across Sri Lanka. So far, more than 1,300 people have been killed and hundreds more are missing. Our Asia correspondent Cordelia Lynch sent us this report.
Sri Lanka, an exposed island nation wrestling with the aftermath of a punishing cyclone. Flooding and landslides engulfing entire towns. At least 465 people have died and hundreds are still missing.
This is my house. This water level damage.
Asri's home was submerged. It's full of debris and damaged furniture. Mother Nature destroying the small things and the big.
How high was the water? Right up to here?
Yeah.
This is what it looked like when Cyclone Ditwa hit.
You were living upstairs for 5 days?
Yeah, it's all water.
Waiting for the floodwater to recede?
Waiting upstairs.
So you stayed for 5 days upstairs?
Yeah.
And did anyone come to rescue you?
No, no power, no water. So all break.
Must have been very difficult.
Very bad.
Sri Lanka is still recovering from economic collapse. Now people will have to rebuild their lives from scratch in a nation already scarred by the tsunami. Once again, they feel vulnerable.
Here, people had to try and get rescued on wooden boards and rubber rings. They've had very little help. And this is an area where many work in garment factories, but they've been unable to get to work. Many isolated here, and they're desperately worried about the days ahead.
Sunil had to make his own raft to get his sick brother to hospital. People forced to improvise. The emergency response here, overwhelmed. The death toll in Indonesia has now also climbed to more than 700. Asia hit by an extreme season of storms, cyclones and typhoons, and many governments struggling to meet the needs of their people. In Sumatra, Zahani's wife and 2 daughters are still missing.
I forced myself to cross the water because when I shouted for my wife and children, no one responded. When I finally reached the village and began walking towards my house, just as I was nearing it, a massive surge of water came. I had to hold on until morning.
Back in Sri Lanka, the water has started to recede, but this is one of the deadliest natural disasters for years here, and a major test for a nation that's already faced so many. Cordelia Lynch, Sky News, Colombo, Sri Lanka.
Well, Sky News has been given rare access to the elite Spanish police unit hunting drug smugglers in Andalusia, a major gateway for gangs bringing narcotics into Europe. To understand the trade, you need to understand where the drugs come from. They start their journey from South America, leaving this port in Ecuador, destined for Europe. They are then transported by cargo ships directly to Spain, or they go via Northern Africa, usually Morocco, before being loaded onto narco boats headed for the Andalusian coast. There's also a stealthier option, narco subs in the Atlantic Ocean. The drugs are then transferred onto smaller boats and sent to Spain. Once there, the cocaine is stored, then delivered to every country on the continent as well as to the UK. The biggest seizure by Spanish authorities came last year, 13 tons of cocaine inside a banana cargo ship that came from Ecuador. More than 400 tons of cocaine was seized in the EU in 2023. But seizures only represent a small portion of the total amount of drugs moving across Europe. And Spanish authorities are often outwitted and under-resourced, as our Europe correspondent Alistair Bunkle has been finding out.
It's midnight and we're at sea hunting for drug smugglers with an elite unit from the Spanish police. The narco boat has come from North Africa. They're trying to reach Spain, one of the main gateways into Europe. In the seat behind us, an officer is tracking the smugglers through an infrared camera. We're moving fast, off the Strait of Gibraltar, a busy stretch of water only 8 miles across at its narrowest. It is a race, and the odds are against us. So we're going 43 knots, they're going 50 knots, and this is the chase. And the smugglers will know exactly where they are. They'll know where Spanish waters end and Moroccan waters start, and they will go back into Moroccan waters. And at that point, there's nothing that the Spanish police can do. The police unit works in the dark. It is almost pitch black on board. This is the most dangerous moment as the two boats close in at speed. We're just about to see for ourselves the risks they take every single night. In the dark, we've crashed into a series of massive waves, made deliberately by the narco boat to evade the police. It's worked. We watch them escape. We hit some enormous waves. I'm guessing the wake of the boat that we were chasing sort of threw this thing all over the place and threw everything up in the air, so they've had to sort of call it off for now. The smugglers are becoming increasingly bold. They will do anything to avoid being caught. The Spanish police are armed. Shootouts at sea do happen.
Usually they run away. Yeah. Usually, but not always. Yeah. Sometimes they try to hit us. As he say, we must to respond.
How do you respond?
Our guns.
Yeah. Earlier this month, police intercepted a narco sub off the coast of Portugal. The cramped vessel had crossed the Atlantic with 1.7 tons of cocaine, a potential street value of well over £100 million. The journey can take up to a month. They surface out to sea and transfer their drugs cargo to the smaller rapid speedboats for the final bit of the journey into shore. Last year, almost 30,000 people were arrested in connection with drug smuggling in Spain. Once the cocaine is on land, it can be on the streets of the UK and other European cities within 24 hours. Through an intermediary, we've been sent a location to meet a cocaine smuggler on the Atlantic coast. He says he is the head of the biggest smuggling cartel in Spain. He only agrees to speak to us if we change his voice and don't show his face. It is not just the police he is worried about. If his gang know that he has met us, his life is at risk.
We are very busy at the moment. There's a lot of work. Latin American narcos are crazy for this area.
And where is most of it coming from originally?
The cocaine comes from South America, crosses Africa, and reaches here.
And it goes to where? It stays in Spain or it goes across Europe?
Cocaine from here goes everywhere in Europe. That's the point.
A few weeks ago, 5 police officers were shot and wounded during a drugs raid on a warehouse not far from where we met the smuggling boss. Spain's police union has said that the country has lost control and that the area is being colonised by traffickers.
How often are you bringing cocaine and hashish in? Is this every day, every night, or a couple of times a week? How often is it?
Our smugglers work every night, of course. There are in shifts. Even as I'm currently speaking with you, there are narco boats full of drugs going in that sea. This is how it works.
There are so many smugglers in this part of Spain that the police call them the mice. It is a non-stop war on drugs against gangs that are richer, bigger and better equipped than even the police themselves. Alistair Bunkle, Sky News in Andalusia, southern Spain.
This is The World with me, Yalda Hakim. Next up on the programme, the peace activists in Israel staging vigils to mourn Gaza's dead children. We meet the director behind a new documentary telling the story of this little covered movement, the challenges they face.
The best thing about being a Sky News journalist... Hi, darling.
Beth Rigby, Sky News.
Is being a Sky News journalist. You said to people, I'm not coming back for more, but you have come back for more. Well, let's kick off and make a statement. What can our Prime Minister say to you to not impose tariffs? He's coming out! What more do you need?
Mr. Trump, James Matthews from Sky News.
Hey, James.
I'm James Matthews, and I'm Sky's US correspondent, based here in Washington, D.C. Mr. President, what will you say next to Benjamin Netanyahu? In June 2009, did you stay at the apartment in Manhattan of Jeffrey Epstein?
I'm not answering any questions about him.
I'm Martha Kellner and I'm Sky's US correspondent. I've interviewed some of America's most recognisable politicians. Should the Defence Secretary and the Vice...
Wait, what country are you
from? The UK.
Okay, we don't give a crap about your opinion and your reporting.
Mr Walker, you're anti-abortion, but 2 women say that you paid for their abortions. Are you a hypocrite, sir?
Connor, what did you say to the President? What did you say?
We had a great meeting. He was a great man.
I'm David Blevins, one of Sky's US correspondents, based in Washington, D.C.
David Blevins from Sky News. Fire chiefs say that they're really stretched to the limit and running out of water. What have you got to say to that?
I've witnessed the remarkable passion for politics here.
Why only in America? Why is this American exceptionalism? I just want to understand why you do not think that guns are the problem.
Why is this just an American problem?
The anger too, and the division.
Where are you from? From Sky News, UK.
Yeah.
Back up.
Mr. Navarro, I'm allowed to ask questions, aren't I?
I'm Mark Stone and I'm Sky's US correspondent based here in Washington, D.C.
Vladimir Putin calls you outstanding, Mr. Musk. Has your ego and ignorance cost Ukrainian lives?
David Cameron needs to worry about his own country, and frankly, he can kiss my ass.
Mr. Patel, did you endanger public safety when you said the killer was in custody?
Free wherever you get your news.
What words do you have for Harry Dunn's family today?
Have a nice day.
Do you fear a 4th indictment? Is it a draw?
I'm Stephen Murphy and I'm Sky's Ireland correspondent based here in Dublin.
The waters of Ireland and Britain should be home to great white sharks.
If there are great white sharks in this area, there's no reason they wouldn't come here to feed. It's basically a buffet on a beach. This could be not only a record-breaking storm, but potentially the most dangerous storm ever to hit Ireland.
What might happen if Russia attacked the UK?
This is clearly an enormous show of force.
It is definitely out of the ordinary.
We ran a war game with former ministers back in the hot seat.
Ben Wallace.
Amber Rudd.
Jack Straw.
It's the kind of war game that's genuinely tested inside government.
The Russians are signalling that there may be an attack.
Russia knows our weaknesses, but do you? I'm Deborah Haynes. From Sky News and Tortoise, this is The War Game. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Often on this programme, we've shown pictures from Hostages Square in Tel Aviv, where Israeli families have gathered to call for the return of their loved ones taken captive by Hamas. But nearby, activists have been holding silent vigils to mourn Gaza's dead children, with their demonstrations often denounced by passerbys. Just have a look.
זה קשה, זה מדינה שלמה בטראומה. מה אתם מנסים לעשות פה?
אנחנו מנסים לעורר את כולנו לעובדה שיש יותר מדי סבל והרג. איזה עלובים אתם. איזה עלובי נפש.
תתביישו לכם. תתביישו לכם. כולכם תתביישו, אתם בושה למדינה הזאת. בכל של כפויי טובה, פתטית. לא על נפש.
That was a clip from a new short documentary, Children No More, to be aired on Sky Documentaries tomorrow evening. And I'm joined now by Hila Medalia, the documentary's director and producer. Hila, thank you very much for joining us. You know, we often talk about the fact that Israeli society is quite divided on these issues. And you managed to capture it through this documentary. When we think about the situation in Israel, certainly after October 7, it's hard to imagine that there is a group there who are silently demonstrating and protesting for the rights of Gaza's children as well, given there is so much pain following October 7.
I think what's very special about it, and the reason why this vigil is so important, is that we don't see the same images that you see here in the UK. And it's not because of censorship that comes from up high, it's actually self-censorship. So the media creates some kind of a bubble that we're not really able to see and know what's happening in Gaza. And this protester, this activist, stand with just pictures of kids that were killed in Gaza and basically bringing to the space the situation, because I'm hoping that everyone can, you know, feel for a child that was killed. But it creates a lot of tension, and it's very difficult for people.
Was it difficult to film, given the anger, the lashing out that we were seeing there from the public towards what they were seeing?
Yeah, I mean, it's when we started filming, they were protesting more within the anti-government protests. So that was a little bit more acceptable. I mean, again, it was still difficult, but once they moved into just a regular public space, it became more difficult. And, you know, people have so much anger and pain. And it's incredible that even though it's silent, and I think that's also what's beautiful about the approach that they were taking, is, you know, they stand and they don't react. I mean, they accept the anger. And one of them told me that also, you know, this division of opinion is happening inside families, and it's so difficult to talk about anything related to what's happening, and it's so hard to listen to something that you disagree because you're so passionate and emotional about it. But I think that this approach of basically actually being gentle and listen and hopefully to create a change.
That's what I wanted to ask. I have about 30 seconds left, but what message are you hoping to get out through this documentary?
That empathy is very, very important, and we need to feel empathy also to the others. And it's not, sometimes it's seen as a betrayal by some people, but it shouldn't. You know, we should all feel that. And I think that if we're able to look and feel, it's like a first step to hopefully stop what's happening.
Well, your documentary airs on Sky Documentaries, Children No More. Hila Medalia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, we've been talking about those peace talks in Moscow. Well, that meeting between Vladimir Putin and Steve Witkoff has wrapped up for the night, and he's now returned back to the US Embassy. And you can see those images there of Steve Witkoff with Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law, there in Moscow, and they're arriving there in those images back at the US Embassy in Moscow. That's all from us on The World for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 p.m. Good night.